Welcome to Mommy Guide Inc.'s Craft Room Tour 2022 before the makeover. Yes, sad to say the makeover didn't make it before this video, so this will have to do for now. So watch out for the makeover redo of this craft room tour later on this year, probably in the next couple of weeks or next month. All right, so this is what my craft room looks right now. So when you enter the room, to the left is my main, used to be my main craft room area. It's a small room inside my bedroom. So when you enter, this is an overview of what it looks like. If you've seen my craft room tour last year, it basically looks pretty much the same, with some very few or several rearrangements. Okay, so let's start off with this cabinet. When you enter the room, to the left, okay, on the first and second drawer, the smaller ones are just some necessary tools that I have. So on the second one, this is where I house my old Cricut cartridges for the old, very old Cricut electronic machines, die cutting machines, okay, and some other dies. And then on the next layer, you would see some of my C6 bigs and some also Tim Holtz bigs dies and other metal dies from way back early 2000s and late 90s. Okay, and this one is one of my favorites. It's the shadow box alphabets because it includes both the letter and the shadow for the letter. So perfect for actually creating like bulletin boards, titles, stuff like that. And then on the next drawer are some of my punchers. There was a time punchers was very much a part of everybody's craft room arsenal or crafty arsenal. So those are my EK success ones, and here's some more punchers, but don't worry because in the next, when we do the makeover, this will no longer be the place where you will find this because I have already something nicer, okay, planned for them to be stored. Okay, and the bottom drawer is where you will find my heat foil stuff, both for heat transfer foiling and for toner foiling. And then beside it is actually some of the gears or tripods I use for when I do my live streams. And on top of that cabinet is my CCTV monitor. All right, and then when you enter the room, to the right of it is this small, I forgot the name of this one, but this is an Ikea cabinet, metal cabinet. All right, so the first one is just bills. The second one houses my labeler. It's an Epson. Okay, and those are the refills for the tape refills. And then on the next 2 or 3 drawers will be for die cut letters, images that I have pre-cut so that when we have projects during crafty nights it's easy. And then the next following drawers will be for base cards, for A2 cards, mini slimline, and any other size that we often use, so both in white and in craft. Okay, the next drawer, okay, or cabinet actually houses some of my blending brushes and ephemeras that I've had for many years, and extra Copic markers and refills up there. Those are Copic shells. Okay, and then on the next layer or drawer is are my what do you call this? My flowers that are mostly Prima flowers and some other American craft embellishments. So this is how you were able to buy or how Prima flowers were packaged in the past. Next up are where my washi tapes are housed, some of them. I've gone through so many different organizational process for washies because I have so many of them, but this one I find It's nice because it's stackable, it's fairly cheap, and then I just put labels based on the theme. Like this one, are basically my music themed washies. All right, and then this ones are my hold on special characters for my kids. Okay, so some like that, and then at the back you will see like a paper container. That's where I actually store some of my other washies, put in a what do you call that? In a ring. All right. So below that is actually a drawer that houses my Cricut ironing foam or mat. Okay, and some extra um, stamping platform like Tim Holtz and the Fuse mat and other stamping platforms over there, and of course some the Fuse tool is there as well, and some mats that I use specifically for glass and for screen are there as well. Underneath this drawer is a bigger cabinet which houses most of my 6x6 paper pads including Mintai. So it is actually underneath this one, which you will see in a little bit. Okay, you see two sets of hands. So actually, my third hand and fourth hand is actually Nanny Hedy. She's the one helping me as I took videos of the craft room. All right, beside that is where on top is where you can see my Zutter cutter and my mink machine, the big one. And then the next drawers are where you can find most, but not all, most of my wooden rubber stamps, most of which are hero arts, and some are hand personalized or handmade by some local artists. And there's even one there that I used the mint machine of We Are Memory Keepers. So these are the ones that I normally like to use and even my kids can use. So it's easy to actually get it and within reach. And then down below are my special and my favorite markers to use, especially for coloring. Of course, my Copics. This acrylic container I specifically got from Iris Babaoy way back in the mid 2000s, early 2000s, when adult coloring became such a famous hobby. Everybody was into adult coloring that time. So normally these Copics are arranged, the same way. But now, since my kids actually use this recently, so they're not all the same direction, but normally they should be, and they are arranged according to color family. So the greens, the yellows, the blues, the reds, and so on and so forth. On top of Copics, there are also other kinds of markers like the Tombow markers, the Distress ink marker, and my Prima, what do you call this? Prima pencils, Prima coloring pencils. So these are some old Zig pens for calligraphy. And of course, the Prima pencils. Sorry about the very the movement of the camera. If I'm not a professional videographer, so I tend to make the transitions. I don't have a gimbal for my actual camera, but I do have one for the phone. So I'm sorry about that. I hope you don't really get too dizzy watching this video. So these are the Tombow markers. Again, arranged by colors, by color family. Okay. And then at the bottom, just like the other side, you will see additional Prima pencils, polychromos pencils, which my kids love because you can actually do blending with them. All right, so there you go. So the drawer underneath which is actually where I house all my cutting pads, cutting plates, mats, for all my different die cutting machines. I have several. Don't ask me why. I just love die cutting machines. All right, so onto the next drawer beside it. Actually, are some of my other tools, like that's the button press from your memory keepers that Marie Michelle Vicente recently introduced to us. And of course, there's the Gemini Go, the small Gemini. Okay, and then some foil quill stuff at the back. The Gemini Junior and the standard Gemini. Yes, I have all the family of Gemini electronic die cutting machine. I don't know why. I just love them. All right, so underneath is actually where I put all my heat embossing stuff. So my mostly used heat embossing powders. Of course, these are not everything. Some are can be found separately later on. You will see them. But this is where the paper I use, like the filter, the catch trays for embossing, and that little tray that I use to pick up to put back the embossing powders onto the trays. So you see some of them, like that one, white super fine. So I label them as well. On the next drawer is where you will find, as I said, of several decades ago, adult coloring was very famous, and so we have basically whatever was in the market: Faber-Castell, Derwent, whether it be the regular color pencil or watercolor pencils, Prisma. Yes, we got it. All right. Nice thing about this stuff is they don't really there's no expiration, so to speak, so they're pretty much okay still to be used. And then on the next layer or drawer are some of my acrylic paints and other liquid media, like, okay, this one's a distress paint. Okay, some distress paints, Little Birdie chalk acrylic paints. Of course, we also have some distress stains. I think I have the full collection of those. And then Altenew, this one's Altenew alcohol ink, I think, or watercolor. And then we have Memories Mist. So I've had that forever. And as well as this Glimmer Mist, guys. These were back from my scrapbooking days, and there's very much still distress ink reinkers, and some distress oxide sprays, and again some Little Birdie alcohol inks, and Altenew watercolors. There you go. And finally, the last one houses some of my other adhesives, liquid adhesives, and other stuff, like this one's my Heidi Swap reactive paint, and an etch armor or our armor etch glass etching material, some liquid glue or spray glue, and of course on those plastic containers are actually my alcohol inks and mixatives from Ranger. Okay, and there you go. And of course some reinkers for the different ink pads that I have on the other one. Okay. And of course, don't forget, there goes the alcohol solution for the alcohol inks. Moving on. Okay, the next part of this long cabinet is actually where you will find some of my favorite electronic die cutting machines. The Silhouette, that was the first Silhouette Cameo. And then you have the Explorer Air 2, which I used for a very long time, the Cameo 3, and my favorite, which comes next, is my Maker. And then here are some other manual die cutting machines, and of course that's a Zutter binder. I still love that very much. It's very handy. And I have other die cutting machines which are actually outside in the veranda, because most of the time it's my nannies who actually use them now, because I have arthritic hands already. So it's very hard for me to manually do manual die cutting. And on the final drawer or the final cabinet rather, you would see where I put all my other ephemeras and embellishments that are paper based on these trays, different kinds of plastic containers. Most of them are from Daiso or Japan Home, except for the ones on top. Those are Iris photo containers. Okay, these ones vary. They are sometimes square, rectangular. Some are taller than the others. Some are divided into twos, into ones, into eights. So this one's the one that you see right now is what I use for the small paper and other ephemeras that are other embellishments that are small. But they used to house my cube ink pads because they fit perfectly in those. But I found an even better container or organizational container for those kinds. So now they're for embellishments. And then at the end of this craft room are two rolling carts. Okay, this is my mixed media cart where you will see that I have most of the different kinds of things that we use for mixed media, like texture paste, acrylic paints, waxes, gesso, and many others. Okay, and of course we also have our gel plate, which we love to make to use when we do mono printing. Okay, and then as you go down the cart, you would see other things that we actually use for mixed media, like my different acrylic paints and a present sale, of course. And then on the other cart, that's my Bible or faith journaling cart, where you will see some of my happy planners, which I use for faith journaling, and some smaller journals for faith journaling, and some stamps that are faith based. Okay, and of course, some stickers for faith journaling as well. Okay, beside it is a Kallax 2x4. Okay, that is vertically placed, and on top of which are a cinch machine, and then this paper gator, which rounds corners of papers, even if there's a lot. And then you have that big I forgot, paper fastener, I forgot. And then those are Ikea bins that I actually use when I do specific projects. And on top I have a hanging drawer where most of the time I put stuff that I don't really use that much or that often, because I need to use a ladder to actually access that because it's kind of high. All right, so this is my Linman table on top of two Alex drawers. This is a 200 centimeter long table, and on top of which I have a Scadis. I forgot the size of this one, but this one's a square one, where I have some Scadis accessories like this one that houses some of my paper and fabric flowers, and some punchers, and of course buttons that I actually put in canisters like this, glass canisters, also from Ikea Philippines. So I arranged the buttons based on colors. So there you go. So it's easy to access and it looks really nice. And then there are still blanks, and of course there's where I put my 6-inch paper trimmer. Of course, the favorite one I have is from Tim Holtz. And on top of my table are some books. That's a very cool book, and books are great. Okay, I got from I think my daughter. That's my daughter's. I got it from her. All right, and here I have, actually these are spice racks or spice trays I got from True Value way back, and it houses some of my stickles, okay, and some embellishments I need, and then some metallic wax, different kinds of wax like from Lil Birdie and Artsy. These are some of my favorites. I've actually done many projects with them. You can look them over in my channel as well when I use them several times. And that's Lil Birdie pearl drops, like the Nouveau drops, okay, which I also have, okay, in housed in this one. And of course you have the Nouveau pastes, and of course the embossing powders, so from Brutus Monroe. And then my favorites are the Distress embossing glaze. There you go. I love the colors. And some of the bigger washes at the back. And at the end or on the wall is actually what do you call this? A board where I put my one word for the year, and my word for this year is thrive. Thrive in terms of my relationship with the Lord or God, finances, work, and family. So if you want to know how I am, you can come about with your one word for the year or how one word is done, you can look over or go over my blog, my YouTube channel and look for that one. I think I did that that was the very first stream I had this year, 2022. And I have a small paper rack, okay, on top of my table where I put the only or some of, not only, but some of the kits, paper kits that I have. Okay, because most of the time, as you can see later on, I arrange my paper based on certain themes. Because when I scrapbook or when I work, I always like to mix up flowers with lines, with circles, with stripes, and with all of those things. So I normally do not work with sets. But there are some sets like the mint tie where it's super hard to actually separate them. Again, these are some of the things that you can find on top of that hanging cabinet on top of my desk. So here you can see some other plastic containers. Some houses my ropes and other ribbons. And this one is super nice. I got that from, I think, Daiso or Japan Home, where it can easily, it's so nice to store your trinkets or very small embellishments. And now this is how I store my papers, my 12 by 12 papers. So acetates, flowers, okay, flowers and circles, because I have so many flowers, guys. Solid cardstock, and two more of a solid cardstock. Yes, you can't have too many solid cardstocks, right? Next up is my first Alex drawer. This one on the topmost drawer houses my favorite. As you can see, I have more ink cubes than the actual full-size ones because it's more economical. And so I am able to buy the complete collection instead of just getting few. All right, and I housed them before in, as I showed you a while ago, the old acrylic containers, but now they're in these containers where I put, let's say, Gina K, 1 of 5, means I have 5 of these containers. All right, so this is 1 of 5, there's 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5, and 5 of 5. And the thing I like about this is that you can actually store them by twos like this. And so if you, whatever you just need, you can get. And since it has a clasp, if ever you go out or scrap or craft somewhere else, you're sure that your inks, okay, even if they fall, will still be intact, right? All right, and then the next drawer are some other inks. These are full-sized ink pads. So Hero Arts. I love Hero Arts, of course. And then at the next drawer are still some more inks. Okay, these are some Prima inks and of course some embellishments. What do you call this? Sequins. And then Distress Oxide. There's the Uncharted Mariner. That's the latest one. It doesn't fit anymore into this because I've maxed out the containers that can fit into that one. So that's my Distress Oxide full line. Okay, so I have, yes, with Distress Oxides, I really wanted to have the full collection. I lost count how many there are. Okay, but so far the latest I have is the Uncharted Mariner. That one I got from Kara Crafts. All right, and finally at the bottom are some of my watercolors and my distressed crayons, gelatos, some watercolor palettes, and some paper printers. Excuse me. And fine tech watercolors and as I said, the gelatos and my twinkling waters. So I actually made use of all of this in my past videos. Okay, this Alex drawer is on the other side. This is very shameful. I'm sorry. This is very messy. The last time I've actually organized this thing has been like a year ago. So this is something that needs to be absolutely organized. So I'm sorry. It's a mess. Okay, the next one, again, supposedly this is where I store my refills for whatever. Okay, for blades and other stuff. All right, this is my adhesive cabinet. All my adhesives are there, the tapes anyways, and this is where I put my punchers for my planners and for my project life projects. So we have there the happy planner puncher for it be the mini or the standard, and then the punchers for whether it be disc or otherwise, and there's also some word punchers over there, and on top of, as I said, a project life puncher, so that you can actually create your own cards for your project life, which I actually use so much, specifically for my kids' portfolio, because we are a homeschooling family. So if you want to see some of the portfolio that my kids have done over the years, I will also link the video or the YouTube video for that one, in case you want to use Project Life as a way to showcase your kids' portfolio for those who are actually homeschooling, or for those who want to actually use it for reports or something similar. Okay. So there's also some of my regular punchers, regular shape punchers, circle, square is the usual. All right, so again, an overview of this very tiny and narrow craft room. Used to be my home office, now turned into my craft room. Okay, so outside of this area is the bigger room where I actually now use to actually do my crafty night streams and do my live streams, right? So again, that was the door where you enter, and to the right of which you see that there's a cabin, there's a table, all right, and then there's a bookshelf that's not too high, where I actually now use to store my stamps and my dies. So going back to this table can be collapsed. It's a collapsible table, on top of which is I have two like Lazy Susan type trays, so it's easy to access, and they hold most of the stuff that I use when I do crafting. So scissors, cutters, pens, and then on top, this is again a temporary setup. I have this to showcase some of the cards and gifts that I've received from friends over the past couple of months. And here is a magnetic or a metal board that I got from Ikea also, which houses some of my recently used dies. Okay, and then of course my trimmers, okay, for my 12 by 12s. That's the tonic one, and the one from, I forgot the other one. What's the brand? Fiskars. All right, so and then there's the Spellbinders heat foil tool. Okay, and then of course my original one, the Go Press and Foil one. Okay, so again, I did demos and I did videos of those on my YouTube channel and even on Amazon Live. So if you want to check that out, I'll also put it in the description down below. And this one is my heat foil, my We Are Memory Keepers heat foil. Not heat foil, but rather heat press, and then the typewriter called Type. And then I created that Lida layout for when I joined live streaming every day in April way back in 2021. And this one is a project I created using, I think it was a Team Halts themed episode way back 2021. I will try to link also the video in the description down below. And there's the letter L, which I recently actually created in one of our crafty sessions. And this cube pen container I got from Lasting Impression. I forgot though the brand of this one. I'll try to look it up and put it as well in the description. And those are the fabrics that I love and use for when I sew. That's a portable sewing machine by Brother, on top of which is an Ikea paper tray or roller which I use to package stuff. This is an overview of my streaming area. At the same time, that's a sitting standing table I got from Ikea as well, which I now use when I do live stream and crafty nights. Okay, so to my right from my table, you will see my different printers. So that's my inkjet, my Epson, my Samsung black and white laser printer, and my pigment printer. Okay, and on underneath our drawers, the first one of which is my calligraphy drawer, where where all of my inks for calligraphy like Dr. Martin, PH, and High Juice are stored. Underneath are some of the nibs, okay, for calligraphy and holders, nib holders, as well as some quilling tools. And then further down are actually quilling kits that I have. So definitely we will see some more quilling projects on Mommy Guide Inc. soon. And underneath are some of the basic tools like pliers and cutters and some sorts that we use for other crafts, especially for jewelry making. And then on the bigger door or cabinet of this table, it opens up to show you some of my sticker embellishments I use for crafting and for scrapbooking. All right, and there, okay. So those bins or containers actually I got from Mr. DIY, very very cheap. That time we didn't have Ikea yet. All right, so now I think we're headed onto my table, okay, where I have this gold rose set of office stuff like paper clips, scissors, stapler remover. I really love that. And of course, washi tapes, which I often use when I craft. Okay, that's my I have 3 monitors when I do my live stream. I have one on the right, one in front of me, and one to my left. I also just recently got a Rodecaster Pro, and those are 2 mics I use for when B-Boy and I live stream or my kids live stream. And in front is actually a small tray cabinet which I can put all the things I need for my crafting and at the same time live streaming. There's my face cam in front of me, my stream deck. And where is this camera going? I'm sorry guys, if I am giving you a vertigo by the sudden movement. Again, I'm not a professional videographer. I'm so sorry about this. This is the best I can at this moment. All right, so this is the long what do you call this, bookshelf, but it's not too high, it's less waist height, where I put all my dies and stamps, which most of which are placed in plastic envelopes that were bought from either National Bookstore or Office Warehouse. And some, like the ones for Altenew and some other brands, are Avery Ells. So I mix them up. Again, these are all my stamps and dies, arranged according to manufacturers and theme if they are generic ones. All right, so some embossing folders there as well. All right. Again, I'm so sorry about the very sudden movements. That's quite dizzying. So I hope that you guys are still okay watching this. All right, so what am I trying to show here? Okay, I think I'm trying to show my craft bag, as well as these are my heat tools, my heat gun and my heat tool. And at the back of that is where I actually store my shot box for when I take photos of the projects before posting. And underneath this foldable table, as you can see now, okay, it's unfolded. Okay, our plastic trays or bins where I put all my We Are Memory Keeper boards and other stuff. And in front of me is this Alex table, Linman table with two Alex drawers on the edge and an ECB Alex on top. Okay, these drawers house all my other streaming materials. Okay, and at top of this one is my third monitor that is actually in front of me. And that white thing over there, okay, beside our photo is actually a camera holder, and it also has a light which you can actually carry along if you need to stream or go live somewhere else. Again, this is an overview of what my setup looks like, and this is one problem that I really have: the wires, cables. I have cables everywhere because as a live streamer, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth is the least option that I would need to use to eventually come up with better or nicer live streams. Everything has to be wired, from the microphones down to the internet to the cameras, etc., etc. So that is one thing that really needs to be addressed pretty soon. Hopefully in my makeover that will also be better. Okay, so we have a better option. So my keyboard and my mouse, when I'm not using them, are underneath. And that very nice what do you call this, calendar was given to me by Crafty's 1301 Kenobi. And underneath my table, my standing desk table, is this drawer from Ikea, which houses my adhesives that I really use when I do live streams during crafty nights. And then this mixed waffle flower mixed media mat, and some additional heat gun when crafty friends are with me, and some very cute plates and what do you call this, containers that I use for small things when we do crafts. All right, and there you see I have a foot a foot holder, foot stool, I don't know what you call it. And there at the back of this one is actually my now bedroom, it became so tiny. All right, so this one's everything you see here are actually containers I got from Furniture Source. Furniture Source is in Santolan Town Center. And would you believe that these are like super cheap? I think these ones are not even 200 pesos each, this bin. Okay, so as you can see me holding this label, okay, that's I plan to actually put. I don't have enough time anymore, guys. As it is, this is actually pretty late already. I couldn't make the deadline of 7 p.m. Philippine time today. So I'm going to be uploading this a few hours later than what is expected. So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, my sisters. Okay, that this will be out a little bit late, Helen. I'm sorry. My iMovie crashed. So this is my second time doing this. Okay, so if you can see, I put other embellishments or ephemeras on each of these drawers. The nice thing about these drawers is you can actually pull it out and bring it to your crafting table or station, and then after just put them back, right? So right now, okay, they even have the labels, right? I didn't even personalize. I wasn't even able to first personalize it, but I will, and I will show you how I plan to do it. So this is me being very OC. Everything has to be in its place, and there you go. So the pens, just like the ones you saw in my smaller craft room. Okay, so but this one's a bigger one, so one on top of the other because there are more collections of these pens. Okay, and then so this is what I plan to do with them. Okay, and then put labels as well, but tinier than this one. Okay, I need to cut out a tinier one than that one, but just more or less so you can see what I plan to do with that. Either make it white just so that it blends with the rest of my white furniture, or something else. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next craft room tour in a few weeks from now. Thank you so much, Helen. And everybody who is going to be watching this, I encourage you to also watch the other sisters craft room tour who I've collaborated with here. Bye!